Welcome back, WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. We are positively into the summertime. I'm keeping Camden Yards behind me. We're not sponsored by like Motel 6, but I'm leaving the light on for our friends here downtown in Camden Yards. We are sponsored by our friends at Royal Farms. I have offered to wear the chicken suit on the crab cake tour somewhere on the Eastern Shore. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it at a Royal Farms where they sell beer and wine, which means somewhere near Ocean City. But it's Chicken Palooza. And I made the mistake thinking like Chicken Palooza was an August thing. Turns out Chicken Palooza is a July thing. So I've gone old school. My son and my wife bought me a green screen and they've yet to erect it behind me. So I don't have like a real green screen, so I can still wear green. This is my last chance. I was going to put the shirt on inside out because the back is actually better than the front. And if I get too low, you'll see I'm wearing my pajamas. But the I Love Rofo branding is there, and I can't wait to see what fantastic couture they'll have me wearing on the Crab Cake Palooza that I'm doing in August. Bill Cole has been my friend. Bill, I want to say this, and I'm equating you with royalty now, okay? I'm moving you into a different space here. It's kind of like when I found out that Moeller was a doctor. Kenny Albert's calling the Islander game the other night, all right? So game one, my wife's got it on. We're Trotz people, not necessarily Islanders people. I still have bad Dennis Potvin flashbacks from the 70s and 80s. But Kenny's there, and Kenny's sort of the godfather of the whole thing, right? Like Kenny grabbed me one day and said, Nestor, you should be on the radio. Come do a show with me. And I did. And 30 years later, here we are. And you grabbed me like 5-6 years ago. And my wife was bald and like sort of fighting. You're like, hey, dude, you should like talk about like more stuff like There Goes My Hero and that stuff. By the way, I had an incredible conversation with Bert and Daniel last week, brought to you by Cole Roofing and our friends at Gordian Energy. So, Bill, I'm putting you in the Hall of Fame now because you're creating these conversations. It's your fault, all of this. And I thought about that when Kenny was calling the game and he was roommates with Trotz up in Newfoundland. I thought it's all Kenny Albert's fault, all of it, all 30 years. But this thing, your fault.
I still continue to deny all of that. Although what I am willing to accept is if you properly warn me when you're going to be wearing the chicken suit, I will show up to figure out how we can properly, utilize that situation and embarrass the hell out of you.
I'm going to call out Justin Tucker until he wears the chicken suit in Patterson Park. And kicking field goals. So this is my legitimate. Can you see this? Because
I can.
Sometimes I took my Sharpie because I haven't signed a lot of books lately with it. And I outlined this. That's pretty good, right? Like that's free form. That's with my own hand. That's the way I did it. I mean, it's not really right, over on the western shoreline or eastern shoreline, I should say. But it's pretty decent. All the big purple holes are the places on the Crab Cake Tour of places I've never been. I'm kind of embarrassed that I've never been to a lot of these places. And now here's the weird part. And I opted out of this when Facebook did my iPhone. Like, do you want Facebook serving you specific ads? No. Privacy. I want to be private. Leave me the F alone, right? Doesn't work. I have been getting served every ad and if I say it out loud, if I say St. Michael's, I'll get St. Michael's ads. If I say Allegheny County, I'll start getting ziplining ads. If I say Garrett County, I'll start getting WISP ads and stuff. So,
but they don't listen to you, right? Your phone's not listening to you, right?
I hear voices.
Right.
Constantly, I hear voices. You know this about me. So this tour is really taken on. I did the baseball tour in 2015 and I loved it. I love the planning part of it. I'm a planner, I've planned trips all over the world. I've planned safaris I've never gone on. I've planned 3 trips to Italy and I've never set foot in Italy. So things happen right along the way. I planned a whole hockey. I had 30 hockey rinks in 30 days planned. And then my wife got cancer. I had flights booked. I mean, I was like ready to do Banff, which I still have never done, right? So this Maryland thing really strikes me the further I get into it. I mean, I did the Fells Point thing this week. You can listen to Nick Johnson from Sukasa. You and I went at it about politics in Fells Point. But the image of Baltimore and all these places right now, and whatever the image of it is, whatever Fox 45 is putting on the nightly news, and whatever Channel 11 has, whatever the perceptions would be. The Ocean City thing this week happened, right? Like, we need some love in this state, Bill. And I'm going to spread some crab cake diplomacy in August. And I want you to come. Where are you going to join me? Tell me the things you've never done. And we're going to find the one thing you really want to do.
Well, before you go there, just real quick, I want to give you a little privacy comment because you made the privacy comment. I recently attempted to email one of my Congress people, actually to say thank you. It turns out.
Who was this? But credit this person, please.
I don't know if I'm going to go there.
Okay, go ahead. All right.
Because what I'm about to say is what pisses me off. It turns out that when you go to find their email address and send them an email, you have to fill out all this information. And you have to give them who you are and where you live and all this stuff just to get their email address to send them an email. So in my mind, that is this level of hypocrisy as they hold hearings and they beat up Google and Facebook and all these people about the privacy and the capturing of information. They have also realized that
they need to capture your information.
We need to catch it, yeah, so that we can then solicit them or what, I don't know.
Dude, the solicitation, the prostitution of politics in this country is disgraceful. Like, I like Wes Moore. I don't need Wes Moore to ask me for money anymore this week. It's, like, literally, he's been in a race 5, and I like Wes, and Wes is going to sit with me, and I hope Wes, but, like, if this is what Wes needs to do to run for governor, it's whorish. And Mueller warned me, if you run for mayor, you're going to do that. I'm like, F you, I'm not going to do that. I'm just not. I'm going to walk around the city because it's 8 miles by 8 miles, and I'm going to run for, that's how I'm going to run for mayor. But if this is how you'd have to run for governor, to send emails with these leading subjects that are, there's a 4-letter word for it. It doesn't begin with an F, it begins with an S. It's spam. And the spamification of politification. And, I talked to Larry Gibson about it this week and about putting signs up. Because Larry Gibson, ran Schmoke's campaign. Dude, go listen to the Larry Gibson. Larry Gibson was great. But he got involved by buying signs, going down to Georgia, and literally going into dead red places and putting up blue signs, saying most places in the country, they don't do that. That if you have a monopoly on signs, no one will come on that side of the street to even shake your hand anymore. Right. So it is kind of a fascinating place we're in where, like, you're just trying to get an email out and they're trying to figure out how to get a lawn sign on.
I didn't necessarily need to drive us down a huge rabbit hole about it, but
no, that's what we do here, man.
I know. It just struck me as really odd that there's not just a list of email addresses for, Congress people, and that I can't just go to the list and find my person and say, I want to send them.
And someone on his staff sees it and says, all right, I'll get this to Elijah, or I'll get this to John, or whoever it is.
I have to be willing to give up my personal information.
Not Elijah, by the way.
To send them information. Yeah. So that I was at the beach last weekend.
How'd that go?
I thought it was great.
What's the beach for you? Is that Ocean City? Is that Rehoboth?
Yeah. Okay. No, well, we were at Beach Lax, right? So playing some lacrosse down Ocean City.
When you're not playing soccer.
Right. Well, we're transitioning,
Okay.
That was the end of lacrosse. Now we have to start soccer. So there's no rest for the weary because we like to physically abuse our children, because if not, they're not keeping up and they'll never be able to make the high school team and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that's a whole nother story we can go down.
My son and his wife just got a cat. I'm elated. Yeah. I don't know that I need little league pop.
Yeah, we've basically managed to ruin youth sports, but that's, we could do a 3-hour episode on.
You want to talk about how you wrecked the baseball team?
But at least they're all adults. This is.
You want to hear the conversation my wife and I are having about 9 season tickets? At $1.25, you know what I mean? Like, I hear it all the way through. Go ahead.
So no, I mean, I thought it was good. It wasn't super crowded. The weather cleared up as the weekend went.
Where are you down there? Give me a street. Give me some.
We're around 94th and
Okay,
then
syrup pie.
spending most of our time because the lacrosse was at 125th at North
Okay.
Park or whatever. So we were up that way a lot. Um, I mean, it was crowded enough that traffic got crappy Saturday
Was it
evening and
senior
stuff
weeky?
like
It
that.
has to be, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I don't know if it's
Thank God for that.
definitely the
How
week,
about, can we
but
just have like a moment? I'm 52 years old. There are very few things in life that I treasure more than senior week. So don't mess with that. My wife and I got invited to a senior week party last year in Dewey. It's true.
nice.
We left. We walked up the street. There were about 80 kids. When we walked out, there were about 8 kids on the roof. And as we went up, there were about 200 kids coming down. And as we came down, the cops turned the corner.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, man, it was old school, dude. It was a year ago this week. Swear to God.
Yeah.
Reminded me
Things
of
things
renting
go
Mike
to that's
Faraball's
why.
place on 29th Street.
One of the stories I heard, which I thought was interesting, like I'm concerned about all these places that are having a hard time hiring people. And
By
Ocean
the way, Leonard
City,
Raskin and I went at that pretty hard last week too, and it's everywhere, right? Like
yeah.
I'm this close to making a hire myself, or getting into that, and the workforce situation right now is unlike anything we've seen, right, in America.
Yeah, I don't know if this is true, but it makes logical sense to me, and that is like last year with COVID, there were no workers. Like they get a lot of the visa workers in Ocean City, right?
Sure.
Just for the season. And
Oh, I mean, every girl that's ever served me an ice cream the last 10 years has been from Poland or Ireland or just somewhere else.
right.
Russia, a lot of
Yep.
Russian at one point.
Oh yeah. So the houses that all those workers would live in, I think those people sold them and then they turned them into like VRBOs. So instead of having a 3-month rental, it's like a 1 week rental. So now when the visas come back, or if the people are trying to find places to stay for the summer, the supply of available 3-month rental places for
The
workers
flop
is
house that my
gone.
kid lived
Yeah,
in
it's
above.
gone.
Yeah, he lived in the Shoreham Hotel up on the
Right.
fourth floor in a dorm room with then his girlfriend, now his wife, for 3 summers. And I got a nice deal staying below, down on 4th Street. And, I could smell shenanigans above and hear the music. Um, Yeah, I mean, I love those memories, but I don't know. And
So all
listen,
that,
I'm going to be down in Ocean City August 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, right? I'm going to be with the mayor. Moeller has talked about having me handle like the whole deal, right? This is their time. So if we're not talking over the next 60 days about them, but dude, the stun gun thing that happened over the weekend, I mean, it's truly indefensible. And I've been that kid on the boardwalk doing all sorts of untoward things with open containers and whatnot over the course of time. I can't imagine my 17, my buddy Johnny got rung up by the cops down there. Dad had to come down, bail him out for a beer. 1984, whatever it was embarrassing. It was terrible, whatever. But like nobody shot at him, man. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy.
it is crazy. I don't know. It's the melting pot. You've got the people that live there. You've got the people that own really expensive vacation properties. You've got the people who drive in and park at the inlet and sleep in their car so that they can experience the beach with their kids for a day. Like you've got the whole gamut of possible people. And
Now you
I
have no
mean,
employees. Look, man, when you and I were kids,
yeah,
my kid went down and worked at the beach. He worked at Secrets. He took pictures, did all of that, right? Had beach jobs for 3 years, made a lot of money, had a good time, like the whole deal. Um, I don't. I had a pregnant girlfriend at 50, so I'm out of that picture. I was never doing. I almost got the beach job at the Sun. I've kidded a lot of people about that. That I almost got the summer assignment to cover Ocean City for the Baltimore Sun, the tablet back in the
right.
late '80s and all of that. But that's the closest I ever. I didn't dream that dream, but most of my friends did. Most of my friends thought I'll go get a job at Bull on the Beach. I'll hang out. We'll save money. We'll meet girls. Things will happen. It'll
Yeah.
be a memorable summer when you're 19, 20, 23. I mean, there were a lot of people that went down the Dewey and got flopped when they had real gigs here. But like the notion that anybody's kid, be it Gilman, Perry Hall, Woodlawn, pick any kid in the community here, that they're going to go get a 90-day job in Ocean City, bust their balls in the heat, live in a flop house. I don't know, man. That just doesn't seem like a dream for a 19-year-old kid from anywhere from Towson to Glen Burnie, from, Bel Air to Westminster, literally.
I don't know. That seemed to be most of the people we ran into that were employed down there.
They were local?
They weren't local, but they were, I mean, yes, local in terms of not from Europe. Yes.
Yeah. But also local, not in terms of drove over from Denton and they go to Wood, yeah,
I don't know
Salisbury High.
I don't know if I could distinguish that, but it was, I'll put it to you like this.
You can if they're wearing a Steelers hat and they say I'm from Aliquippa,
It was all young people.
Young Americans to say David Bowie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, look, they have to employ somebody, right? I mean, I don't know what to say about Baltimore at this point and help wanted signs and all of that, but let me drag you back into the crab cake thing because maybe this is something, because you were in Ocean City, you drove straight there, you drove straight back, right?
No, actually, I stopped at a Royal Farm store and got some chicken for dinner on the way down.
You're just plugging my sponsors.
No, that's totally.
That's good though. I mean, yeah. We will. Everybody knows how good the chicken is. So, do you go up around, or do you do? You're one of those.
Yeah.
That's always weird to me.
It's
like, I don't want to go to Ocean City if I don't cross the bridge and have to deal with a bunch of BS.
I put it to you like this. I like the 50 route better, only because they have really nice incremental steps. Like, I'm always trying to beat my intermittent times between the bridge and Easton and Cambridge and Salisbury.
Are you like a race car driver, dude? Minutes, I just drive and look at the birds and look for pretty girls in cars and see if somebody's got a dog in the window and say to my wife, hey, that's where I stopped to get beer back in '86. That's the stuff I do on the way down there.
My drive down this time was very casual.
I gotta pee. Let's get an iced tea. Something like that,
Normally it's, the car's full of crap. I got kids that are driving me nuts, and I need to get there. So
you're Chevy Chase.
Yeah. So, but I'll tell you, they've made the Delaware route really nice. And I mean, I did it in 240 with a stop at Rofo. I mean, we were cruising, man. There was no traffic. It was really nice.
Be honest, did you pee at the Rofo?
Of course.
Yeah, okay. Just check it. Bill Cole's here. Cole Roofing and Gordy Energy. We meant to talk about crab cakes in the tour. I held the map up. The thing that has boggled my mind, I mean, this has literally boggled my mind. I've driven to Pittsburgh 25 years in a row, sometimes twice, right? Sometimes 3 times. I've driven to Ocean City, not as much like during my marriage, to be really honest. My wife and I, we've been to Ocean City 10 times, and most of them in the last 5-6 years, because we haven't traveled as much after her illness and she couldn't lay on the beach for a long period of time. So like any of that. But I mean, I went to Ocean City 10 times a summer for 10 summers from the time I was 14 to the time I was 25. Right. So I had never heard of Oxford. I passed the sign 800 times, right? Like literally. My buddy Mark Miller brought it up to me. Blondell Miller, Schuller, damn good lawyer. Todd Schuller, go find him. Don't find him because it probably means you're in a car accident. But if something happens, you got him. They brought it up, and since then I've had 4 friends bring it up, and a friend who lives there who Zoomed with me last week and says I live near Oxford. I'm like, never heard of. The only Oxford I ever heard of was the college I couldn't get into in the UK, right? And it's like when you look at the map, it's like you could walk there from like the Easton Airport. It feels like you could, from Trapp, you could like walk there.
All right.
And my friends, the Elliots that I grew up with, they had relatives in trap. So like we would stop and trap on the way to the beach because, Joe and Mark's cousin lived down the street and they wanted to say hello. We could pee, this is before there was rofos everywhere to pee
I
back in the
get you. I
day.
got you. Sure.
So when going to the beach was a 5 hour
Yeah. Sure.
marathon.
Sure.
So
Yep.
like it's a place like Oxford or like the Blackwater Refuge. And I can't say that I've been into birds or water or like this is about me being 52 and like trying to study the world a little bit and be a little bit more of a trying to do more than get laid at the beach, to be honest with you, which was what the first 800 trips were about, right? So stopping in these places and doing stuff is something I've never done. So one time this summer, I'm literally going to get out and, smell the flowers and the roses. I'll tell you this, the couple of times I've gotten off the road in my life going down there was because of Billick. Billick bought this
Sure.
castle on the water down by the Wye River, and you literally would make a right turn right past the outlets. It was one right turn and another right turn, and like a 10-mile road past cornfields and sunflowers that led to his home, like right into his driveway. It wasn't a lot of turns, it wasn't complicated. But one night, my wife and I left there with her sister. We stopped at Brian's house to say hello. We were on the way to the beach with her sister I don't know, 10 years ago. It was like 10 years ago. It was before she had cancer. And we pulled out of there on a Friday night at like 10 o'clock. We were trying to like let the traffic die down, like go later. This is my kid lived down there. We had a flop house. And we pulled out and it was like complete darkness. And we're driving out of Brian's house to get back up to 50, like, 8 miles up the road from the Wye River going toward the outlets, kind of sort of. And we shut the headlights off and there were fireflies like everywhere. And we shut everything off and we sat in this field of darkness and just had fireflies everywhere. It was one of the most amazing things I've ever experienced. And it was completely accidental. And it
Right.
happened on the eastern shore on a farm road because my partner had a mansion at the foot of the hill and we turned the headlights off and we weren't in a hurry to get to Ocean City. And
Right.
we like got out and ran. And my wife didn't have lightning bugs as a kid.
Ah.
So like for her and her sister, it was like, I don't know, probably like me being in the tulip fields of Amsterdam or something.
Yeah, that's wild.
So I want to
Sort of
experience
like
something weird
cicadas.
like that. But
Yeah.
the Oxford thing is one of those things that's so close, yet so far away. But this is my summer to stop. So you need to do one of those, the Oxford Ferry. I don't know what the hell it is, but I'm going to get on it.
Yeah, I almost pulled the trigger last summer and tried to get to Smith Island. Because it was COVID and it was all goofy. It was like, what the hell are we gonna do? And I tried to pull that off, and I don't know that it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. So it probably didn't work last summer, but that's fun.
They don't have Smith Island cake on Smith Island anymore, or they don't make
Really?
it there.
You sure?
Somebody told me that. Well, I'm going to go
That,
investigate it.
that sounds like fake news to me,
No,
man.
no, no. I'm going to investigate it. I'm going to
All right.
investigate it. I don't know.
Good,
I don't know
good
for
man.
sure.
That's what we have to do. We have to investigate. I don't know. I'm fascinated with like St. Mary's County and like all the way down like Pocomoke, and you got to get all the way down. Like these are the places that you don't even realize are actually part of Maryland, and you're like,
So
St.
I did
Mary's.
this last summer coming back from Nag's Head. I took
Yeah,
the bridge and it came up through Virginia,
sure.
and I've never done it. It was crazy how the train track, you could clearly see it was built in 17 something 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 something, and it's
Right.
right next to the road. I don't mean 19 something. I mean 17. I mean moving slaves and things up and down the eastern seaboard as close to the water as you could without flooding out.
Yep.
Like if you've never been there, it really kind of incredible and not Gucci at all. Like sort of like oystery and farm oystery in a lot of places. Like I got off thinking it was going to be prettier, no offense, than it was.
I I think we talked about this last time maybe, but like because of our we do a lot of schoolwork, and every one of these towns has a school. Uh, and I've been doing this a long time, which I don't really like to admit, but
It's a
probably
beautiful school
I'm
you have
old.
behind you on the
And
YouTube right now, Bill.
so I've gotten into these little towns. I've looked at Pocomoke High School and
But you've never gone there looking for the best crab
Chrisfield
cake in Pocomoke.
Elementary. Yeah. Well, I'm usually in and out so quick that I drive by these places or I see these little main streets and I'm like, man, the part that always bothered me was I know my wife would appreciate it, right? Or
And
like
she's not there, right?
my kids will never see this place, like
And
how do
it's
you
not like you say to your wife, pile in the car. I'm going to Pocomoke today. I got a 2-hour meeting. I'll drop you off into town square and you let me know what you find.
right. And I'm probably kidding myself. I'm not sure how fascinated my kids or my wife would find any of this stuff, but they are
Yeah, I'll be
definitely
honest. I'm curious by life. So, like,
yes.
if
Yes.
getting dropped off in those environments, I sort of like that in some sort of weird survivor way. You know what I
No,
mean?
these destinations. I always drive around trying to figure out why people live where they live. Like, where do you go to work? Why would you live here? Like, you're not anywhere near civilization. Like, how does this work? And in a lot of cases, the best I can tell, they are, self-sustaining towns, right? So somebody's got to be the tractor repair guy, and somebody's got to be the bus driver, and somebody's got
And
to
the
be the school
doctor
teacher
and
and
the
the
dentist.
doctor. Right, exactly. And they're just self-sustaining, and that's wild to me.
That
And then
makes
all
me
of a
start to
sudden,
sing like a John Cougar Mellencamp song. Like I start to think, "Little pink houses for you and me."
right. And then all of a sudden you drive down the road a little bit farther and here's a Walmart supercenter.
That wiped out 18
Right.
industries.
Like we don't need anything
Roadblocks.
anymore.
Bill,
And
we don't
now
need your roof anymore.
right,
We got
now that there's a
shingles.
Walmart, now that there's a Walmart, I don't know what people do. I guess they all work at the Walmart. I don't know. Uh,
Reminds me of Odyssey Radio, you know. All right, dude, look, I love you. I appreciate you. Look, it's a big state. There's a lot of things. There's mountains on one side over here. There's beach on the other side over here, right? Like, so you
I
decide.
just think
You can do
I love
berries,
it.
unicorns, wine vineyards, war sites. You can do mountains. You can do trout fishing. You can do fly fishing. You can go marlin fishing. We can go crabbing. We can go snakehead fishing. We can eat crab cakes. We can antique together. Let the ladies antique. We can drink beer. There's a lot of things we can do, man. It's a big state.
Can we just eat and talk? Do we actually have to do stuff too, or
I'm not doing a damn thing. That's what I told my wife my wife on vacation. She like has poles and boots and she wants to go hiking and all that. I'm like, I want to put my cell phone in a safe and I want to sit somewhere where somebody brings me a beverage. And I want to not be on my phone and I want to be listening to some combination of Led Zeppelin, Shaggy, and Engelbert Humperdinck.
hmm. I mean that last 30 seconds, if I could unpack any of that, it would probably paint a pretty deep seated picture of who you are as a person. So I think that was good
If
to
you
share
follow
that.
my social media, you get inside of my skull. You do, Bill. Bill Cole is here. Tell me what you do about getting on roofs and going to places like Pocomoke.
Yep, commercial roofing, commercial solar, everything from servicing people's roofs to keep them watertight.
What's the last school
Uh,
you did? The most recent school?
uh,
Where was it?
I mean, they're all over the place.
Oh, wow. Okay. That many. Okay.
Yeah,
I just figured you'd
yeah.
say, did you do Colgate Elementary?
Did we do Colgate? We just did something at Colgate, but it wasn't the whole roof. It was like a new HVAC unit or something. So
Really?
or we're getting ready to do that or something. They're
Well,
getting new air
thank you.
conditioning.
On behalf of my people, on behalf of my legacy, Johnny O has promised me that I'm gonna be over there when they put a shovel in the ground. That's my
What you
school,
should
man.
do is you should go when you're down on the Eastern Shore, you should go look at like Shoal Elementary School or some of the new schools that they've built down there because we've done a fair amount of those and man, they are pretty.
I want to move
They're
to that
pretty
neighborhood for my kids, my grandkids.
I mean, you can appreciate like if you believe that a kid will learn better in an environment, like
And thinking
There's a
about the
lot of thought.
blackboards we
There's a
had
lot of
versus this,
thought
right?
going into, yeah, there's a lot of thought going into the environment that our kids are learning
My
in. So
wife and
it's
I
cool.
traveled last week, and we were in Orlando for 10 minutes changing a plane, and we witnessed children, and every child. I mean, children that look like the phone was bigger than they are functioning these things. And after the pandemic, when all they, my dad had flashcards, right? So like, I have a real appreciation for, and really hope that when I'm old and missing my teeth and 80 years old and everybody's driving to the beach on a bullet train and hovering and having cars that drive them to the beach so they can you start drinking on the way. I don't know that that's good or not, but when that happens, that this next generation will somehow be more educated because of this
Yeah.
and somehow more
Yeah.
functional, but hopefully less lazy, which we'll get to next week on the Help Wanted signs. Bill Cole is here. Cole Roofing. Let's see. I need an executive assistant. I've got an extra Bruce Springsteen ticket for July 6th in New York if somebody wants it. So I'm just throwing a little Help Wanted out here because people listen to this segment between you and me, okay?
All right, buddy.
Miss you. See you next week, and see you on the Crab Cake Tour. Here's Bill Cole, Cole Roofing and Gordian Energy. The mug says so. I am Nestor. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, and BaltimorePositive.com.